Welcome to the NBA Triple Double Show powered by SportsMemo. I'm your host today, Ronald Cabang, also known as UCapper on SportsMemo.com and on Twitter at @U_Capper. We do have 3 games to break down today with myself and Moneyline Matt. It's a bigger slate, but we're focusing in on those 3 games there. Before we get into them, though, we got to talk about the promos. We do have the $2 Tuesday cappers still available on our website. Joe D'Amico, Kevin Thomas, and Dan Kaiser. I believe all 3 games will be on Sunday for football, if I'm not mistaken. And so those are there. You can get all 3 for $5 or each one individually for $2 each. Those guys are awesome cappers. They're always on the leaderboard as well. So definitely check those guys out for the $2 Tuesday. And typically those $2 Tuesday bets are like their play of the week. They're one of their most confident plays. So definitely head over to the website right after the show. We also have a 7-day all-access pass for $69 with the promo code MEMO7. This ends on Sunday night, so definitely check the website out, and you can actually stack these. You can use as many as you want on multiple cappers. So if you see some guys on the leaderboard that you want to follow for basketball, football, college, NBA, whatever it might be, you're able to stack these. So MEMO7, $69 for a 7-day all access pass, and that ends on Sunday. That is, to me, the best way to get your packages with these cappers, because a lot of us over at SportsMemo are profitable on multiple sports, and sometimes there's days when things balance out when you do better in one sport than the other. So having the all access is definitely a plus for us over at sportsmemo.com. With that said, let's bring in Matt in the building. What is up, dude? Finally on the winning side yesterday for me. Back on the winning side of the NBA. I know. I got a single win yesterday, but overall with the NFL, I got plus money yesterday. So I'm hoping this is the beginning of another streak here. How about you? How was your Thursday?
Yeah, so Thursday overall was a good day. I was 3-1 overall. Would have swept if it was not for Sadiq Bey. Missed it by a 0.5, and since our show on Wednesday, actually I'm 2-2 with the NBA, so not a ton of volume, just 500. And I don't know if any people took that LaMelo Ball play, but LaMelo Ball missed by 0.5, goes for a steal, lands on a fan's foot, sprains his ankle, and leaves the game. We lose by 0.5.
That was crazy, yeah.
Dude. I'm just like, some of these losses in the NBA it's more brutal than any sport. I swear to God, like. Literally a fan's foot. It's just, but that's the NBA. That's the NBA.
It is. And the last week or so has been like that for me too. A lot of the losses that I had have been within a single possession. I would have had another loss last night. Luckily, I think it was the Nets game where the tip-in happened at the buzzer, because I had the under on that one. So luckily the tip-in got the game to end in regulation. But yeah, shout out to Jesse in the chat here. Thanks for coming through to watch the show.
Appreciate it.
Back to our original triple double with 3 games and 2 cappers. We're gonna start with the Heat and the Wizards here. The Heat are 7-8, coming off an 8-point loss to the Raptors. They were shorthanded that game. This is also their second of a 4-game road trip. They do have the Cavs on deck Sunday night. Wizards, they're 8-7, coming off a loss to the Thunder in Beal's first game back. I know Beal hit a jumper with like 6 seconds left. Then SGA came through with a 3 with a second left to seal it for the Thunder. The Thunder have been playing really well. They have a great game tonight against the Grizzlies here, Ja versus SGA. But the Wizards, man, they've been playing really good. I know, well, Beal just came back. Hopefully, I'm thinking that they get on the winning side again tonight, with Miami missing a whole bunch of key players there. Butler is out. Harrell is out. Oladipo, Yurtseven, and Bam looks to be doubtful tonight, so he's probably not going to play. They do have Caleb Martin playing, and Dwayne Dedmon should be back in the lineup as well. But you think that he can kind of overcome all of these injuries tonight and get the win, or are the Wizards going to get back in the winning column today after both teams coming off of a loss? What do you think?
Yeah, so for me, I got to go with the Wizards here, kind of to some of your points. In their last game, the Heat actually played a good game. They had Jimmy Butler in the game, shot 54% from the field, and still lost by 8 points in Toronto. So for me, it's kind of tough to side with a team that just shot 54%, and they're going to be without Tyler Harrell. They're going to be without Jimmy Butler. Oladipo's still out, and Bam is doubtful in this matchup, which he's kind of a key matchup as well for someone like Kristaps Porzingis, who, Bam is very versatile. He's an athletic big man. He can go out and guard the three-point line. He can chase you down and block from behind. So he's a huge defensive presence as well when he's out, and he's someone who can really help with guys like Porzingis and then Kyle Kuzma, who's been playing very good as well. And, me and you talk about the injury replacement theory all the time, but it's not always true when players have missed multiple games like that. We've already seen Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson. All of them are kind of nice bench pieces, but I don't believe they're guys who can come in and get you 15, 20 points to help to push you over the top and get you this win against the Washington Wizards. And then on top of that, when you look at the Wizards, they're finally getting back to full go. Bradley Beal is plugged back into that lineup, had 37 minutes last game, which, I was very impressed with how Bradley Beal came in and played for his first game back. Got 25 points, again, 37 minutes last game. His over-under in this spot is 20.5. I think that's a pretty good look for Bradley Beal, especially, if Bam somehow does play, I think he's an amazing look. And still Dwayne Dedmon, he's not that bad of a defender. He's at least a bigger body that can get out on Porzingis or help with Kyle Kuzma in the paint, things like that. If he's out, then the Heat are really in trouble in the paint. But because of that, I still do like the Bradley Beal look at 20.5 points. But all in all, I really do like the Wizards look here. I like the team total look as well for the Washington Wizards. I think they're going to play some good basketball. And I think the Heat are just kind of hurt with these injuries. I don't think they're going to have much of a defensive presence on top of that. So I'm kind of Wizards across the board here.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I wish I took it this morning when I was looking at it, because it was at -1, and when I was kind of going through my breakdown capping the game, I was like, all right, I'm gonna take the Wizards today, and then because I just had a feeling someone was gonna be sitting out. I didn't know Jimmy Butler was gonna be out. It was more Adebayo that was a bigger impact for me. The last game against the Raptors without Dedmon and Adebayo, they got out rebounded, and they struggled in defending the paint as well. Rebounds against the Raptors, 42-23. They gave up 16 offensive rebounds, led to 26 second chance points. They also gave up 58 points in the paint. So definitely not having those two bigs affected them there. And with now, I mean, Dedmon's going to be there, but I can't see how it'll be any different without Bam, because Bam is kind of that key guy on the defensive side of the ball. He's more of a post defender than Dedmon is, for sure. And so if he's there, I still feel like the Wizards should be able to take advantage of the rebounds, the offensive rebounds, also the second chance points. The other thing too is with Butler and Bam, a lot of the defense is going away in this one with Butler and Bam. Those are two key guys that defend the perimeter, also on the post. So I could see, I feel like Miami still got some shooters on their squad that can heat up out of nowhere. Duncan, Vincent, we got Strus. I know Harrell's not going to be there, but I mean, I think some of these replacement guys have been able to put up some numbers. To me, I feel like this is an over game. I know the number came down a little bit from the open because Butler and Bam are out, but as much offense that is leaving from those two guys, the defense is more impacted, in my opinion. So one thing that I looked at was since 2020 with the Miami Heat, when both Bam and Jimmy are out, they're actually 13-7 against the spread. So they're profitable in this situation. I think it's because the books adjust a little bit too much, but they're also 13-7 to the over. So for me, I think because I didn't get the open line at -1 or at Pick'em, I might stay away from the spread, but focus in on this over. I feel like some of the guys that are going to step in and score some points, and a lot of the defense is gone with Miami. So Miami the Washington team should be able to put up some points as well. Any thoughts on that total?
No, I mean with the total, I definitely do like the look of it potentially going over. I think the Wizards have a good chance of hitting their team total over as well. I definitely like that look. If there's any spot that I'm liking in particular, I think it's that Wizards team total. I really do like the look of that with Bradley Beal getting back into that lineup. And they really do have one of those lineups that's kind of low key, but they have numerous guys who can go out and potentially get you 15, 20 points. They have three of those guys with Porzingis, Kuzma, and Bradley Beal. And Bradley Beal's one of those guys who can go and get you 30. We've all seen him play when he's been at the top throughout the league, the top league scorer, things like that. So again, I do like this team to get going. I think they've been better than expected, and the Heat are in a tough spot here. You know what I mean? Coming on the road like that, they're losing a ton of their defensive presence with Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. So again, I like the points here.
Like it. All right, cool. So next game up, Suns versus the Jazz. Suns are 9-5, coming off a win over the Warriors at home. It was a one-game homestand, so they're back on the road now, visiting Utah. The Jazz 10-6, coming off an outright loss to the Knicks. This is the first leg of back-to-back games too. They have the Blazers up next tomorrow. I think they're gonna be in Portland if I'm not mistaken. So home to road back-to-back. As far as injury report, Cam Johnson and Landry Shamet are out for the Suns. Okogie is a game-time decision, but I don't think he's that much of a factor at all. With the rotation. CP3 is the guy that we've been focusing in on the last few shows that he's been on. He's such an impact on both sides of the ball. For the Jazz, it's just Rudy Gay. To me, I mean, like I said, just like the last few shows, we talked about the importance of CP3 and how big he is to this Suns team, regardless of the numbers that he's putting on. Just the sheer fact that he's on the court impacts the Suns here. Pace of play goes up a little bit. Without him, the Suns are less efficient on the defensive side of the ball without him as well. 3 of the 4 games that CP3 has been out has gone over the closing total. The one game that went under was their 3rd game in a row over on the East Coast. They played Orlando, and Orlando had that weird, funky lineup where everyone was like 7 foot tall or whatever. So they have the positionless lineup when they had their guards out. I think they're still running with that. And that was the lengthy defense of the Magic really affected them, along with the travel issues with the Suns there. So they didn't get over that one. But I feel like, to me, I want to wait again to see the status of CP3. If he plays, I would probably look towards the under. If he doesn't, I would look towards the over. From a side perspective, it's always hard when you don't have a full lineup here, and what the motivation is coming off of a win over the Warriors as well. What are your thoughts on this one, Matt?
Yeah, so I'm very much with you. I was looking at the Chris Paul status there, and I was looking at that total. And for me, I want to wait on this as well because I actually think this could get steamed up a little bit. I'm actually interested in maybe going with the under if it does get steamed up. Again, going with that Chris Paul news, if he does come in, I want to probably go under, like you said. There's a difference between Chris Paul and Cam Johnson, Cameron Payne. But when Chris Paul has the ball, he's very patient. He likes to run that pick and roll. He likes to get to his spot, get his shot. If it's not there, he doesn't have a problem resetting the offense. The Suns are actually one of the slower paced teams throughout the entire NBA, coming in at 26th in overall pace and 24th in average length of offensive possession. So again, that's how long you take before shooting the basketball. And when Cameron Payne is in that lineup, he tends to not be as patient. He's going to get his pick and roll, or he won't even wait for his pick and roll. He's just going to attack the basket, try and get a shot up. He's someone who shoots very early in the shot clock. Kind of a weird player. He's not the biggest fan of him. But so for me, I want to wait on that Chris Paul news as well. But as for the spot, I personally think this is a great Jazz spot. I really do like, the +2, and I even like the Jazz money line here. They've lost 3 in a row. They're coming back home. The Suns just had a high emotional game in which they spanked the Golden State Warriors once again. So, it's like they get up for these Golden State Warriors game. They put out a lot of effort. They win. Now they're going on the road against Utah, who, has lost 3 in a row after playing very well to start the season. And I like this spot here, especially if Chris Paul does miss. Because now that Cameron Johnson is out, Chris Paul could potentially miss. It's a lot of weight going on Devin Booker's shoulders. And I understand how great Devin Booker is. But this Utah Jazz team does have numerous guys who can score the basketball with Mike Conley. Jordan Clarkson's playing very well. Lauri Markkanen. Kelly Olynyk. They got guys all over. Malik Beasley coming off the bench. They just have guys who can make shots, fill up that bucket. 3 games in a row. It's hard for me to see this team losing 4 games in a row. They're too consistent on the shooting end. If one guy has an off night, they have another guy who can come in and pick it up. So because of that, I really do like this Jazz money line look here. And again, to your point as well, if in fact Chris Paul plays, I'm going to wait to near tip-off to see if this line steams up just a little bit, and then I might hit that under.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. One thing that I do know is that I'm probably not going to play it if Chris Paul is in, but if he's out, I just looked at the database here, and without Chris Paul in the lineup since 2020, the Suns are 15-8 to the over, and 3-1 so far this season. So a lot of things point to the over if he's out, okay. And even more so when when the total is high, they still go over. Totals over 220 in that same spot, 12-6 to the over. So a lot of things pointing to the Suns over. If Chris Paul is out, I'll probably stay away. If he is in, to the chat, man, JR, sorry for that loss with the Spurs over a few days ago, but definitely do not bet your rent. That's something that we don't, push here. Definitely just play your normal size units on your bets. We want to last in this betting space. We don't want to. It's not a get rich quick scheme. This is something that you want to last and continue doing because we just love doing it, right? And Vincent Booker scores 50 tonight. Suns cook the Jazz. I could definitely see him going off. Definitely could see him going off here. The Jazz, maybe they're coming back down to earth a little bit, but who knows? We'll see how that goes. All right, game number 3 here, the Pistons and Lakers. This is an interesting one. Both teams here with 3 wins on the season, which is crazy. The Pistons are the worst team in the league, 3-13. They are playing the second leg of back-to-back games. They did lose to the Clippers last night by 5. They covered the large spread, and that's one thing to note there is they did cover the large spread on the road here against the Clippers. Clippers had Kawhi and PG in there, only losing by 5. They limited them to the Pistons limited Clippers to just 96 points. They're still struggling offensively there. And the Lakers, they only have 3 wins so far, like I mentioned earlier, 3-10 on the season, lost 5 straight games before their win against the Nets on Sunday. They are well rested, though, like really rested. They haven't played since Sunday when they did beat the Nets. And they see themselves as only 7-point favorites to the worst team in the league here at home. I don't know. What do you think about this line? It seems a little too high here. I don't know, man. This is a funky line here. What do you think?
Yeah, it honestly is. And, when you look at the Detroit Pistons right now, it's tough because it's my hometown team. I love this team, and their heart is gone with Cade Cunningham. When Cade Cunningham is not in that lineup, they have a lot of difficulty. And, Jaden Ivey is doing a good job scoring, trying to get his teammates in the game as well. But then you get to the backup, and it's Killian Hayes. And Killian Hayes is so inconsistent and just maybe one of the worst backup point guards in the league currently. So for me, it's very tough to side with the Pistons here. Both teams have 3 wins on the season. But when I look at this too, Big Stu might be out as well. So then Marvin Bagley is probably going to be either shifted to that 4 or the 5 position. I would imagine he'd actually run the 5, and Jalen Duren will probably come off the bench. So for me, because of that, I actually give the edge to the Los Angeles Lakers. I know this is a big spread, but when you look at this Detroit Pistons team, not only do they only have 3 wins throughout the season, they are one of the worst defensive teams throughout the entire NBA at 29th throughout the league. And then they also come in with the 13th ranked pace. If you watch Jaden Ivey at all, he is someone who grabs that basketball and he pushes it up the court. And if you're not making shots, the game can get out of hand pretty fast. And then when you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, they also run a high pace at 4 throughout the NBA. So I do think this game will be rather fast, but they actually rank 12th in defense. And I think a lot of that does have to do with Anthony Davis. So when I look at these 2 lineups and I think of Marvin Bagley versus Anthony Davis or Jalen Duren versus Anthony Davis or anything along those lines, I give a big edge to the Lakers there. And then if LeBron James comes in and plays as well, I think he's a true game time decision. I think him and Anthony Davis are true game time decisions for this matchup. But especially if both those guys play, I think that's just too many points for the Pistons to overcome. I love the guys like Saddiq Bey. I love, Jaden Ivey, Marvin Bagley, all those guys. But in terms of putting up points per game, I got to put my faith in Anthony Davis and LeBron James. They're just far more consistent than some of those guys. I've been waiting for Saddiq Bey to go off and do something, but they just really haven't been doing much. And it's been the rookie and Jaden Ivey who's actually been keeping them in game and getting buckets. So for me, I got to go with the Lakers here.
Man, I want to talk this one out with you because two things. So Cade Cunningham is a game time decision. So he's not completely out yet. LeBron, AD, I believe he's probable. He should be in the lineup today. LeBron, he's a true game time decision. He practiced, but it was non-contact practice. So I don't know what that means and how that affects this game here. But defensively, the last 5 games, the Lakers have been struggling a lot. And one thing to note here is I looked at this rest advantage. All right, so the Pistons are playing the second game of back-to-back. The Lakers haven't played since Sunday. So I wanted to look rest advantage to me is kind of important in when we cap these games. But sometimes when you have an extended period of rest, you kind of get that rust factor, right? Not only that, the books adjust. To me, the books may adjust, over adjust at times. Because if I'm looking at this line, the Clippers were -10 yesterday, and the Lakers are -7 at home. Like I feel like the Clippers are a much more than 3-point favorites than the Lakers, if that makes sense, right? So to me, there might be some type of adjustment here. And so what I did was look at teams on the 4 days of rest versus teams on the second leg of back-to-back games since 2020 here. Let me look at this again. All right. So looked at favorites before the All-Star break who had 4 days or more of rest, and they had more rest than their opponent. So that's this instance tonight with the Lakers and the Pistons. Those teams, the favorites, are 13-5 straight up, but only 7-21 against the spread. And that's just telling me that they may be over adjusting the line because of the extended period of rest. But it doesn't happen often. The last time a team was on 4 days of rest plus second leg of back-to-back was in 2020. So it doesn't happen often. I don't know, man. What do you think about things like that? That type of logic where there's the rust factor and then over adjustment from the books? What do you think about that?
No, I think the rust factor is definitely something that you have to keep in mind, especially when you have 4 games is a long time. You know what I mean? In the NBA, I think you want to continue to play. You want to stay hot, keep your shot going, things like that. One thing I wanted to ask you as well is what do you think about the total? Both
the total
teams are struggling on defense, high pace of play. So I was just curious what you thought about that.
The thing with the total is what is the number at right now? I believe it's what is 226? Is it still 226? So it's gone up from 225 to 226. The thing is, like you mentioned, they're really fast-paced teams. Both teams struggle off defensively, but both are in the bottom third of the league in offensive rating as well. They turn over the ball. They don't shoot really high percentages either. So this could just be a high-paced, ugly offensive game where no one makes shots. You know what I mean?
Like rebound props.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I don't know, man. To me, it almost seems like the line is too high for the Lakers to cover. To me, it would be a Pistons spot. I feel like maybe the Lakers get the win, but the Pistons cover the 7-point spread here. I think if LeBron and AD are officially announced in, maybe you even get more line value later. Maybe it gets pushed to like 8.5 or something like that, and then you can grab the Pistons. As far as the total, I would say go against the grain here. I don't agree with the total going up. I think it should go under because they just both are terrible offensively. They just can't score. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they both can't.
Yeah, regardless of how bad the defense is, neither team can shoot the 3 ball that well.
Especially if Cade doesn't play.
Especially if Cade doesn't play. Yeah, 100%. If Cade plays, I would I would look towards the
And,
Pistons.
and that's what's getting tough at this point in the season because there's so many game time decisions and these NBA teams. Some are truthful, some are just like not truthful at all. So it's like you're taking this info and you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt and you're trying to make educated decisions and picks and plays. So for me with this game, like I love to talk about it and make a pick for everyone, but this is one I think there's better chances on the board tonight. So this is probably a game I'm going to personally stay away from. Like I actually like that Pelicans Celtics game. I think I'll take a look at that a little further. And yeah, I just think there's better games or player props across the board tonight.
Yeah, 100%. This is the late game. And a lot of people are going to be watching it just because it's the Lakers. But I'm agreeing with Vincent Hawkins in the chat here. The under might be the play. I think it's going the wrong way, in my opinion. No offensive efficiency at all. I definitely agree. If AD plays, their defense is going to step up a little bit. LeBron, I don't know how he affects this line anymore. You just never know when he's going to put in effort and when he doesn't. But yeah, man, I think that's it. Those are the 3 games today. So let's talk about best bets and what you got going on over on the premium side, Matt.
Yes, sir. So I actually have not put any NBA plays up just yet, but I'm going to attack it right after this. Already got some player props I like. Like I said, I was looking at that Pelicans and Celtics game as well. There's some stuff I like there. So definitely going to have some picks and plays up. Last time with that best bet, we had LaMelo Ball missed by 0.5 because he twisted his ankle on a fan's foot. So tonight, let's get back on the winning ways. We did hit that over in that game, though, in the Hornets-Pacers game. Had some people in the chat grab that play, so that was cool. Glad we hit that. But tonight, I'm rolling. I'm going back. I'm going back to Tyrese Halliburton. Halliburton over 30.5 points plus assists. And, guys, I love targeting the Houston Rockets. It's a great team to target for any point guard, any shooting guard. The Houston Rockets play very little defense, and they play at a high pace, just like the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers have the second highest pace throughout the entire NBA, while the Houston Rockets come in at 10th. And not only do they have pace, both of these teams are some of the worst throughout the NBA in terms of overall defense. The Pacers are 26th in overall adjusted defense, and the Rockets are 27th. And then you look at Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton already averages 20.6 points per game and 10.4 assists. So again, he's already essentially hitting these numbers. Now he's in a better spot. In the last 13 games on top of this, Tyrese Halliburton has hit this 9 times. And, now he's got guys like Benedict Mathurin who's making some shots. He's got guys like Buddy Buckets, Buddy Hield, Miles Turner. He's got some guys now who can come in and make him shots. When I was watching that Pacers and Hornets game too, it amazed me how many assist opportunities per minute that Tyrese Halliburton had. And that's basically, he makes the pass. Does that player make or miss the shot, essentially? And it's crazy. He has like 2 or 3 every single minute. So against the Rockets here, if you guys have watched the Rockets at all this season, they are pretty rough defensively. And he's going to be matched up with either Kevin Porter Jr. or Jalen Green. And, Jalen Green is my dog, but he plays some pretty bad defense. I am not going to lie. So I like Tyrese Halliburton to expose that matchup. And, one last thing I was going to say is Jalen Green. I wanted to check out his numbers. They weren't up on DraftKings or FanDuel. And Jalen Green loves these spots as well. Any pace-up spot, any spot where, it's lesser defense, Jalen Green takes advantage of those. So I think that's a great person to look at as well. But for my best bet today, I'm going to be rolling with Halliburton over 30.5 points plus assists.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me, especially with the pace of play here. He's definitely going to get a lot of run against this Rockets team. They don't play defense either. So that's definitely a good look here. For me, I am on the same side as you as far as not being putting up any plays yet. But after the show, I do have some looks here. I know we're missing some line value on some of these games, but I feel like there's still some plays out there that we can make. As far as my best bet, I'm gonna look towards this Wizards team here, and you talked about it earlier. The team total over. I think that there's just too much defense on the Miami side that is missing, and when you don't have Bam or Butler on this Miami team, they kind of push the pace a little bit with guys like Strus and Vincent. Like they're basically going to be a guard heavy squad today, so they're going to be pushing the pace. And Washington, they just been playing really good ball lately, even though they're off of that loss. even in that loss, they put up a lot of points. And Beal coming back with his second game under his belt since his injury. I can only see them going over their team total today. I know we missed a better number from this morning, but over 110.5 is definitely doable in my opinion. Just a fast pace, no defense from the Heat. They should get over this pretty easily. Whether or not Miami gets their guards, shooting their threes, getting those in there, covering the spread or whatnot at the number at the 6, we don't have to worry about that. We just got to worry about the Wizards doing their thing on the offensive side of the ball. And 110.5 is definitely something I could see them doing today against Miami. So that will be my best bet for the show today. As far as the premium side, I will probably have a couple of plays up today around noon. I do have the NFL show today with SportsMemo. I think that's at 1:30 this afternoon, 1:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Pacific. Are you on the show too?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so we're gonna be both on the NFL show today. So I'm gonna try and post some NBA plays before then, and I think I have a couple of college basketball looks as well. Just hopefully we get back on track on the winning side here. I know some of our free plays have been hitting. I mean, for me, some of the free plays are hitting, but it's those premium plays that are getting lost. Have been losing in the last week or so, but hopefully getting back on track. Got my another win on the board in the NBA, so hopefully this is a start to a new winning streak here. With that said, next show is on Monday, so good luck with everyone's action until then, and we'll see you on Monday. Peace.